Foxhole it, I guess, right?
Well,
or that was the Foxhole one.
That was the Foxhole one.
This Amateur Radio Roundtable is brought to you in part by ICOM America. All right, hello and welcome to everybody out there. This is Amateur Radio Roundtable. I'm Tom Medlin, W5KUB. I think we got a great show for you tonight. We've got some great co-hosts on here tonight and some good topics. If you're listening out there on the international shortwave station, WBCQ on 5130, if you've got internet, you can come over and watch the show. Just go to W5KUB.com. That's W5KUB.com. Also, send us an email to tom@W5KUB.com and tell us where you are and if you're hearing the station and how you found us. Love to hear from you. We've got about 7,000 members in our Facebook group. Actually, we've got about 7,200 now. It's growing about 100 a week. So if you're logged into the chat room or you're on our website, W5KUB, go up the top to the menu up there and there's Facebook and Twitter. Click Facebook and join us on our Facebook group. We'd love to have you. 7,000 plus people is a great place to talk about ham radio. You can follow us, follow the show, see what's coming up and so forth. Post your ham shack pictures in there, and Katie usually shows your ham shack pictures on the show. We'd love to see your shacks. We've had some internet issues all week. The internet's not good here, but we're going to see if we can keep the show going here tonight. So we don't know what to expect, but we're going to try our best to keep it going here. We got a hamvention coming up, in about a week and a half. We're heading down here on a Wednesday. Let me tell you just real quick about that trip. We'll be leaving Wednesday morning. That will be the 15th, I think. We'll be running Rig Pi in the truck. We're operating remote control HF. So get in the chat room. We're going to be streaming our 10-hour drive live. Get in the chat room, talk to us. Let's pick a frequency out and let's get an HF net going there and so forth. And we'll also have a DMR and D-Star there. I've got one of the new DV Mega Cast IP radios. No antenna on it. It's just a little radio with a mic and a speaker, and it works on the internet. It's an IP radio. We'll have DMR, and we can get on any talk group. We do have our own talk group for Amateur Radio Roundtable. It's 31693, I believe. We may use that if we get a bunch of people together. So let's do this real quick. Let's go around the room and say hello to everybody. First, I want to welcome Dave back. Dave has been gone for a while. Let's get Dave in here and see. Oh, that's Dave here. I can't take him out. Let's get Dave in here. Now, Dave, I understand they let you out early. Is that right?
Now, I was involved with a singing group in the community, and we had our concert last Sunday. So that's over until September 10th. And so I get some time off and get to do ham radio, which is singing's fun, but I think ham radio is a little bit more fun. And still been keeping up my videos on my channel, and recently have been borrowing an ICOM 7300, which is proving mildly impenetrable to me. But I've got 2 videos up on it now and should shortly be putting another one up. I've discovered ICOM thinks differently from the way Yesu does in terms of how things operate and so on. So, still figuring it out. But that's what I've been up to. And good to be back.
Well, we're so happy you're back with us, man. I was just going to send you an email this week and say, Dave, are you still around? Because I thought the singing was going awful long there.
Yeah, it went from mid-January all the way up to last Sunday, early May.
Well, very good. Okay, glad to have you back, and just jump in here and shout out at anything you see that you want to yell at. Well, let me pull Josh down here. Hey, Josh, how you doing, man? You've been out a while. Josh, you got to turn your mic on. Ruh-roh.
He could try sign language.
Yeah, let's just do sign language here.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yes.
That was weird. I had it set, but I had to go back in and set it twice. So tell it twice, it'll work.
Yeah. Well, look, hey, you missed a couple shows. So typically, what I do, I give like Katie 100 demerits per show she misses. In fact, Katie's going to get 100 tonight, but she's it's okay. You can get up to 1 million demerits and still be on the show. So
okay, good. All right. Well, I'll keep that in mind. I'll get a balance or something.
Yeah.
Going. But yeah, I got sick, and I mentioned we had a flood. That's been fixed, and just been busy with work. But much like everybody, I think here, we're all getting ready for Hamvention. So.
Yeah. It's I've got to start packing this weekend. I'm my producer and director is not here tonight. Kathy had to drive to our home over in North Carolina today. It's a 10-hour drive. One of her aunts died, and she's over there for a funeral. She'll be coming back, I think, Friday, and then we're going to be packing, and we're going to be heading by Wednesday, heading up to Xenia, and just want to make sure that we all get together. Come by and see us. We're in Building 2. We'll have chairs for you and everything there.
I will be there.
In
Looking
fact,
forward to it.
If there's any interviews or any special guests that you guys run into and you want to get them on, bring them by the booth and you do it, okay? And in that way I can sit back and rest my voice. You guys that have been following me know that I've had some issues for about 3 months now. I've been had laryngitis, and I'm just getting my voice back. I've got a damaged vocal cord here that's healing, and the remedy for that is don't talk for 6 weeks. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but my voice is getting stronger and it's coming back.
Is your wife urging you to follow the doctor's advice?
Well, she's 500 miles from here right now.
Oh, okay.
She may be watching. Actually, she may be in the chat room. I don't know. I think she's just getting here. She left this morning, and like I said, it's about a 10-hour drive. You go all the way down to the other end of Tennessee and hang a right and go down into North Carolina. So it's a long ways down here. But glad to have you back, Josh, and we're going to have a good time at Dayton. We call it Dayton. It is still the Dayton Ham Fest. That's a registered trademark, and we're going to have fun there. We're in Building 2, so come by. All right. We've got Pat in here. Pat's back. Pat does our segment on VHF and above. Pat, how you doing tonight?
Doing good, Tom, and everybody else. Hopefully everyone's doing well. I wish I could make it to Hamvention this year, but it's not in the cards. But next year for sure. But I'll be watching your stream, and matter of fact, if you do a little HFing, I'll be glad to coordinate the Intermountain West here a little bit. I just got my 40-meter vertical up and playing again, so we'll make it a point to be on the air.
Well, that'll be great, man. And we're looking forward to making the drive up, making that an event. We're calling this the ultimate live Hamvention Marathon. We're going to be streaming 50 hours. That's 10 hours up and 10 hours back. So there's 30 more hours of Hamvention itself, but we've got a 10-hour show on Wednesday going up. And hey, if you're lucky and we're unlucky, Just like what happened one time. You're going to see the police pull us over doing 89 and a 70. You never know what you're going to see when you watch it. But we're going to have so much going on. We're going to have DMR and HF and APRS and everything. Somebody just left. Who was that? That was Dave. That was Dave. Okay. All right. Well, hey, Pat, you're going to talk. What are you going to talk to us tonight about? Don't go into the whole story, but you're going to talk about what tonight?
We're going to do a little product review here on a neat little radio. I think everybody will have some interest in on the little SDR transceiver.
Okay, great, cool. Okay, let's bring Howard in, and we'll maybe just jump right into this segment with Howard. He can't stay too long, so let me bring Howard in, and let's see. We might can do it this. Well, let me do this. Let's just get Howard in, kind of full screen at first.
I think Dave popped out.
No, Dave's here.
I'm here, but my camera has stopped working.
Okay.
Well, hey, Dave, just at the bottom, stop your camera and restart the camera, and it'll probably pick back up.
Okay.
The little camera symbol down at the bottom, and hit camera on. Ruh-roh. Well, Howard, are
yes.
you okay? You were frozen. I thought you were looking at something.
Oh,
I thought you had frozen. Okay, we'll let Dave work on trying to get his camera on, and Dave, you may have to reconnect or something. Just wiggle the wires, do all that stuff. Let's bring Howard in here. I'm gonna give him full screen. There, you're back. He's back. All right, let's get Howard in here. All right, hey everybody, this is Howard Nurse, W6HN, and as you guys have noticed, watching previous shows, Howard, what do you say, Howard? Are you the developer of the RigPi system? What would you describe that as?
Well, I'm sort of a jack of all trades as far as RigPi goes, and excuse me, being a nerd is my background. So, but thank you. I want to thank you, Tom, for having me on tonight. It's a pleasure to be back, and hello to Pat, Josh, and Dave. And I too am looking forward to seeing everyone up in Dayton. It's been a few years since I've been there. I think the last time I was there was back in about 1999, 2000, something like that. And before that, it was back in the early 70s. So I've been to a few, but not recently.
Well, we're glad you and Dave and Josh are going to be up there, and we're going to have a good time. Let's try to all get together and wave at everybody out on the show. Let me just say, guys, it's great having a celebrity like Howard on here. Now, Howard, I may have said this before the show started, but for you guys that have tuned in when Martin was on here and Howard was on before, we introduced Howard, and Howard's dad was the president of Heath Company, the Heathkit, if you remember the Heathkit catalogs, and there was always a big article in here, I think on the cover, where he thanked his the customers out there. So that's great.
His friends.
All the what was that?
His friends.
Oh, all his friends out there. So being the president of Heathkit, Howard should have a whole shack full of Heathkit gear. What do you got there? You got any?
I've got a few left over, and I think we have a few antiques left in the garage that I'm going to rebuild someday.
Okay, all right. Well, that was a great company, great products. I remember when the HW100 came out and all that, kind of one of the first sideband rigs in a kit, and that was one of my first sideband rigs, like 1970, I guess. But things have changed a lot, and rigs are changing a lot, and let's talk a little about the RigPi, because that completely changes the way radios operate now and the way you can operate radios. And let me just say, I tried putting 7300, I tried putting a new 991, and I tried putting a Kenwood all in my Silverado truck, and I had so much ignition noise and fuel pump noise that I couldn't run mobile. So I'm glad I didn't. I don't have a big radio in here now. I don't have a big antenna on here now. And now I'm going to use RigPi. Howard, talk to us about RigPi. Should I show the video first?
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and show the video, and then with the remaining time, I can go over a little bit more.
All right, guys, let's take a look at this right here. Yeah, take a look. Let's see. I'm gonna try to pipe some sound back to you here. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Howard, W6HN. I'm excited to tell you all about the new MFJ1234 RigPi station server. Let's get started. A long time ago, when digital computers were first invented, it took specially designed rooms and conditioning filled with racks of equipment, hundreds of vacuum tubes, and elaborate consoles to do simple arithmetic. Up until the early 70s, the thought of having a computer in your shack was nothing more than a dream. Since then, the size and cost of computers has come down to the point where computers are an important asset in any well-designed shack. The behemoths of yesterday are no longer. This is the RigPi station server. It is a small, economical, Raspberry Pi-based computer system that controls your station and handles on-the-air activities. What can RigPi do? Using a browser on just about any device, RigPi provides radio and rotor control, CW King, VoIP for two-way audio, logging, DX spot monitoring, and a fact-filled web view showing details about other stations. Using the RigPi desktop, you can operate digital modes using popular programs, plus you can upload your log files to the ARRL logbook of the world. Finally, it can replace a desktop computer with a browser, email client, word processing, and spreadsheet programs. RigPi is great for use in your shack, but for remote ops, it really shines. RigPi is well suited for Apple and Android devices, including mobile phones, tablets, iPads, and more. Work DX while on the road or from a cruise ship. Let's listen in on Tom, W5KUB, as he works Walter, KI4V, in Tennessee from a cruise ship somewhere in the Caribbean.
That is light years better. All the background noise is gone. It's just clear audio. It's crazy how good this sounds. It sounds like you're just here in the shack with me.
Here is Walter, KI4V, previously NR3E, working HK3C in Colombia.
We are trying out, we're beta testing a RigPi remote unit. I'm actually on an iPhone remotely connected to a friend's TS570.
Well, very good. Very good, thank you. And congratulations on the remote setup. It's sounding nice.
All right, well, guys, I tell you, I'm impressed just watching it. All right. Howard, are you there?
I sure am.
Well, hey, I like the video.
Good. It's been fun to put it together. So
Yeah.
It's been out on the web now for, gosh, about a week, and I think you've had over 400 views. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know. It's been on our Facebook group and our YouTube channel, and I think you put it on your YouTube channel. I don't know. It might have a gazillion by now. I don't know, man. Hadn't looked.
I don't look very often, but last time I looked, I think you were well over 300, and just to see what was happening on my YouTube channel, that was over 100 views. So that's great. I'm really pleased.
Well, nearly everybody I know in the chat room they're always, they're saying they're already ordering, man. So I don't know. We might need to rename this show to RigPi Show. Yeah.
That would be great, and certainly everyone is welcome to join us on the RigPi forum, rigpi.groups.io. The RigPi site is https://rigpi.net. just today, I've uploaded a number of documents onto the group's IO site that will be of interest, all the help files, schematics of the two boards, information about the libraries that are used to run the radio and rotor commands. And so we're getting it all together. It's going to be an exciting run, I think, with this, with the launch starting officially at the Hamvention next week. And I will be there and looking forward to seeing you, Tom, and Paul and Josh. Let's see, I guess Pat, rather, is not going to be there.
Right.
But Josh and Dave will be, so I'll see you there.
So this thing will interface with just about any radio out there, right? I mean, the setup has probably hundreds of radios listed, all brands.
Yes, all the popular radios are, and manufacturers are listed, are supported by the HamLib library, which a number of different applications use. So it's had a lot of experience, a lot of testing and development by a group of very enthusiastic developers. Once in a while you'll find a radio that isn't on the list, but there will be a radio from the same manufacturer that's close enough in the command set that you can just choose that. I ran across one this morning. The FTDX3000 is not on the list, but the FTDX5000 is, and they use an equivalent command set. So there are over 200 radios listed, I think over 40 rotors. And so it's going to work with just about any radio, any CAT-controlled radio that's out there. So it won't work with my old DX40, but it will work with anything that's been made from about the mid-1990s on to today.
Well, you know, a person could, I mean, this is not using it to its fullest extent, but I'll say a person wanted to just set up a 2-meter rig or a 440 rig and you know, go on vacation. You can still you don't have to use cat control or anything. You can still interface the push to talk and the audio cables in and out, and you'd have a remote 2-meter station there. You know, you couldn't change frequency, but there are a lot of applications for it.
That's very true, Tom. In fact, it has its own internal VoIP server. If anybody's had any fun with the online gaming, Mumble is the server that's used oftentimes for chatting, voice chatting while games are going on. So we put the Mumble server right inside the RigPi. So no matter where you are, wherever RigPi is, you don't have to connect to an external server, VoIP server. VoIP is two-way audio. You don't have to connect to an external server. It's built right into RigPi. And a lot of people don't even connect to their radio. They can still listen to what is being received by the receiver without even controlling the radio. And I talked to a guy this morning that does that. He goes to work, but he can always tune into his local 2-meter repeater through RigPi and listen without even starting up the RigPi engine.
Yeah, and you can set up multiple accounts for all your friends. They can have their own account, log in and use it. You can actually hook it to multiple radios.
Yes, that's one of the things that makes this new logging control app unique. It's a server. It's called a RigPi station server. So it works just like a server on the internet. You can have as many users as the poor little RigPi or the poor little Raspberry Pi will accommodate. But if you had 3 or 4 users, they can all have their own accounts, or they can share an account. You could have 2 or 3 people, 2 or 3 guys on the same account. I've done that with Tom and Walter. So the 3 of us are using Tom's radio and can control it from our respective locations. And it just takes a browser, so you can open as many browsers as you want, with the limits being set really by the Raspberry Pi. As somebody, I think, aptly described it, it's like the little engine that could. it's going to huff and puff and climb the hill, but there is only so much that it can do. So I've seen that with tests that maybe 4 or 5 users are about the limit before it starts to run out of steam.
Yeah, I see this kind of like back when people started putting repeaters up. I envision that you get about 10 guys together, and they all chip in to buy this. It won't cost them but $25 a piece, and they put this rig up here on this big tower somewhere and put a rig pile in it, and all 10 people have their own remote station now.
Yeah, that's right. That's really fun when you have 2 or 3 people controlling the same radio.
Yeah,
you can imagine.
Well, it can become very affordable if people wanted to do something like that. All right. Well, now, do you know, does MFJ have a bunch of these? Are they going to bring some up there to sell, or are they just taking orders?
I know that they are in production now. We delivered the gold memory card to their production team about a week ago. So those cards are now in duplication. I believe they're arriving back at MFJ tomorrow. And their own production team has been putting together a number of rig pies. Now, I don't know yet whether we're going to have any of these sell at the Dayton Hamvention. I haven't gotten final word on that. They have sold more units than they have made. So it's on back order now, and I'd really be reluctant to sell any at Dayton if people who had ordered it, say, 2 or 3 weeks ago hadn't received theirs yet. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with sales, but I know they'll be taking orders at Dayton, and I'm sure the production is going to get cranked up very rapidly so that they'll be able to accommodate additional orders as they come in.
Well, that's good. Hey, it's exciting. I like it, man. I like it. We'll see you guys up at Dayton. Any last thing? Hey, Dave or Josh, you guys got any questions about this thing, or before Howard goes? I know he has to check out.
You might have already answered it because I had to step away for a second. I apologize. Is there a way that you can have multiple people be able to connect to the one rig?
Absolutely. It's a server.
And
it's browser driven. So I can connect 4 different browsers here on my desktop to the same radio, and one might be open to the tuner window, one to the logging window, another one to the spots window. Or you could have 4 people using their own browsers connecting to the same account, or they can connect to their own account and control a second radio.
Okay. So is there like users you can put into place? Like if I wanted to give Dave a user account, for example?
Absolutely. It's it's all set so that you can assign security levels to each account. And it starts out as an admin, but then the numbers go up from there to the point where all you can really do is log in and see what's going on. You can't transmit or use any controls, but then there are steps in between. So you can set security levels for anybody that has an account.
Okay. Yeah, good. Excellent.
Hey, a question. Have you set a price for this yet?
$299.95 is what MFJ is charging.
Okay, $300 then. Does it come with cables specific to the radio, or do you have to order cables extra?
There are 2 ways to connect the audio cables, and you can either go through 3.5 millimeter jacks, or you can order a special cable from MFJ that goes into an RJ45 connector with the right pin outs and jumpers for whatever radio you have. So you can do it either way. You also need a power supply. It requires a separate 5 volt, 2.5 amp power supply, which is, I don't know, between $5 and $10 as a separate accessory.
Well, you know, and another thing, Dave, your audio can actually run through the USB cable too. On some of these radios, you don't have to cable. You don't have to cable up the mic or the speaker. It's all handled through the sound card in the radio, just a single USB.
Well, I've got the Yaesu 3000, so and I do have to set a lot of my software to the 5,000 settings. I find it unusual that it wouldn't come with the power supply. Usually MFJ equipment comes with the wall wart.
Yeah, that was an MFJ decision. I have to talk to Martin about that, but I know that the pricing was really cut with a fine razor blade to get it under $300. And I should say, there's the Raspberry Pi board, which everybody pays around $35 for, whether you're buying one or 1,000. Then there is the RigPi Keyer board that uses the very popular K1L EL WinKeyer chip. Then there's a separate audio board which has transformer isolated inputs and outputs, and then the cabinet and anything outside of the cabinet is an accessory. But I was very pleased that MFJ was able to get the price below $300. I suspect dealers will be able to charge less. As you know, dealers have their own price, and so there is some flexibility in how much they can charge. So it may be available for even less, but we're going to have to really ask Martin or one of the MFJ folks more about the reasoning for not including a power supply. Many people
Howard,
have their own power supplies.
The power supply, I'm looking at mine over here, the power supply is just your common 5-volt supply that plugs into your cell phone. It's got the same connector. It's got the little it's the US.
Oh,
the little,
so
yeah,
it's
the little mini it's got the little
USB.
mini USB end on it, and so if you're like me, you probably have a whole box of those things laying around somewhere.
The other thing I should mention is that if you don't need the audio board because you already have a USB supplied audio, you don't need to include the RigPi audio board. If you don't operate CW, you don't need the CW Keyer board. You can buy just the case and the Raspberry Pi and the firmware on the memory card, and at that point, the cost is well under $200. So you can also add your own audio dongle, a USB audio interface to it. You can also use an external WinKeyer through the USB interface. So if you have your own WinKeyer already and you already have an audio dongle that you use, then you don't need to buy those extra boards. And for people that have everything that they need already, including Raspberry Pi, you can buy the memory card separately. And that's, I think, under $40. So there's a way to satisfy just about anybody's needs, a lot of flexibility.
Now, just a note on that power supply. This is my Apple power supply for my iPad, and it puts out 2 amps.
Yep.
So the smaller ones that you get for your phones won't give you the 2 amps that you were talking about.
Right. 2.5 we need.
Well, this is a common, you may have to get a little bit bigger one.
Yeah. Yeah, they're available on Amazon. MFJ is selling one. They're readily available in a number of places. And the 2.5 amp 5-volt spec is the Raspberry Pi spec. So that I wouldn't recommend anybody try to use anything less than the 2.5 amps.
Okay. Interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah,
Great.
and
stop by the
Howard
MFJ booth.
Howard will have
I will. I'll be
Yes.
Howard will have one there at Xenia at Dayton Hamvention this year, and you guys can see it in person. I'm going to leave mine here hooked up because I'm going to be operating it.
I'm going to have one here too that is connected to our local 2-meter repeater. So
Okay, cool.
I'm fortunate enough to have 2 beta units here right on my desk.
Oh, cool. Connected to a repeater, that ought to be fun. So you can control the repeater through the device.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So I know a couple of repeater owners that might just be interested with something like that then.
Yeah.
Howard, a quick question for you. When you're running this remote stuff, it probably doesn't happen that often, but let's say something goes wrong on the hardware end, it hangs up. Is there a way to kill the system and shut it down? Let's say your transmit gets hung up or something like that. Is there a way to remotely power it down so it takes the radio offline as well?
Yes, there are a bunch of answers to that, but there's a dead man built into the software that watches a preset time that transmits on. And if it exceeds that time, say 10 minutes, then it automatically shuts off the transmit. So if you lose the interconnection and it happens to be locked in transmit, it'll shut itself off.
Gotcha.
You can also control external AC devices, which is what Tom does through the push-to-talk jacks on the RigPi that can be configured to control external devices. I use a 110 volt remote switchable power strip here to turn radios on and off. So if you still have contact with RigPi, you can shut the transmitter off that way. But the only other way to do it is some sort of a fail-safe. If the internet goes down, is to have an old landline connection with a power strip that can be controlled through a landline call, and a lot of folks do that. So there are a lot of ways to solve it, all the way from use what's there already to getting pretty elaborate in terms of fail-safe.
You know, I think it's just a neat little device where if you're a home brewer or a builder, you can interface and build a lot of things to go with it. Yeah. As Howard said, I'm using a lead out of it to actually turn off my 12 volt power supply. I didn't want my 12 volt power supply on, a whole week while I'm gone. So I actually turned the power supply off the radio. And at the same time, I disconnect the antenna and ground the antenna through an antenna switch. So if it's lightning outside or if it's storming outside, my antenna's not on the radio. So you can do all those kind of things.
I should also point out that the MFJ now has agreed with keeping all of my code open source.
Oh,
so
good.
that if you are a hacker and want to get there and change functions, add features, you can get in and do that with almost with a text editor. There's only one portion of the software that is not open source, and that's the graphic elements you see on the tuner window. There's an S meter, there's a frequency display, and a tuning knob, which were created using a proprietary piece of software that is not open source. So that keeps the entire package from being open source, but all of the internal software is written in PHP and JavaScript and all the standard web-like tools that make it very easy for anybody to go in and make any changes you want.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's one of the great things about the Raspberry Pi is since you have that GBIO port, those pins that you can access, you can do a ton of stuff with them, and the size of it's just perfect for that.
Yeah, it's really about the size of maybe four decks of cards stacked. That's about the size of the RigPi. So it's so small and so efficient power-wise. You could use it in a go bag and take it with you out on a mountaintop and use it. It does not require an internet connection to work. All the logging and there's even an FCC database built in. So if you need to do call sign lookup, it's all done right there without having any internet connectivity at all. So it's a very powerful tool for people that want to do mountain topping or in a go bag. You don't need to put a laptop in there or any other kind of a PC. You can put this 2-pound little metal box in your go bag and away you go.
Yeah, as a video showed, it'll do your logging for you. You can do logging. You can do call sign lookup, DX spots.
Now, question: does it have to have a wired connection to your router, or is it a wireless?
It's either. It has a dual band radio for Wi-Fi connection, and it also has the Ethernet connector for our hardware, either way. So it also has a Bluetooth capability, which I haven't tried, but I do have a sitting here somewhere, a Bluetooth mic that I have supported with Comcat Mobile, which is my iOS app. So you can use a Bluetooth mic with a push-to-talk switch on it, and your iPhone is nowhere to be seen, and all you're carrying around is a little Prime blue mic. So I hope to be able to support that with RigPi as well.
All right. I know you said you needed to go, Howard. Thank you so much for coming on tonight and showing us this, and we're looking forward to seeing you next week in Ohio. I'm
counting down. Thank you, Tom.
All right, man.
Good to see you guys, and thank thank all folks that are watching now for your enthusiastic interest in RigPi. And again, join us on rigpi.groups.io or visit our site, rigpi.net. And definitely stop by the MFJ booth in Xenia at the Dayton Hamvention, and look forward to seeing you. Thank you, Tom.
All right, thank you. 73, we'll see you later. All right, hey guys, stand by just a second there, and we'll get back to you in just a second or two here. Create your own band openings. ICOM newest SDR transceiver, the IC9700, is coming soon. This new radio is bringing direct sampling to the UHF, VHF weak signal world. The IC9700 is an all-mode transceiver loaded with innovative features such as dedicated amateur satellite operation, color touchscreen, D-Star capability built in, RF direct sampling on 2 meters and 70 centimeter bands. It has a dual independent receiver capable of full duplex operation as well as dual watch and 100 watts. Max output on 2 meters, 75 watts on 70 centimeters, and 10 watts on 1.2 gigahertz. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM radios. All right, we're back here. Hey, look at there. How did I get on there? Look at there, I'm on there. I didn't know that. Let's see. I ought to be able to do that, fix that. Let's see. There we go. Okay, hey guys, just a quick announcement here. Let me get the echo turned off. Hamvention, it's always fun. It's our 37th year to go.
37th?
37th straight year to go, yeah.
I was telling people 30, it's your 30th, 37th.
No, it's a 30, I think this is our 37th, yeah. It's always fun. Rain, snow, sleet, sunburn, tornadoes, nice weather. I mean, you know, anything you can imagine. But look, I used to like to go up here, and we used to be out in the flea market for 25 years or longer. I loved the flea market. I used to look at, you know, the junk. I like to buy the junk and get parts out of it. But we moved in, and of course the reason we moved in to make the webcast a little better for you guys and put on a more professional show for you. We don't get out and we don't carry anything to sell. We don't really buy anything. Most of the years I've come back, I haven't even spent 25 cents up there. The most I'll spend is, you know, $8 for a steak burger or something like that. But I want to tell you what we're going to do here. We're going to do this again this year, and it's helped us the last couple of years. The webcast for Hamvention is going to be 50 hours of live streaming. We're going to stream from early morning to the end of the show, almost not take a break. We might get 15 minutes for a hamburger. But the show is really expensive for us. It cost us over $3,000 to webcast the show with all of our expense. So we're setting aside one prize only. This is a Comet CAA 500 antenna analyzer. This thing is built like a brick. It feels like a brick. It's heavy like a brick. It goes up to 500 megahertz. It does the graphics here. You can plot various different graphics and compare different antennas. It's got the analog meters there. It's a great portable antenna analyzer. And for every $10 you put in the kitty into the donation to support this trip, we're going to put your name in for a drawing for this prize. So $20 gets you 2 tickets, $30 3 tickets. If you want to put $1,000 in, I'll throw in a few extra tickets, I promise you. So this is what you might win. It's been so popular. We've done this for 3 years, and it's really, really helped us out on the trip. And we want to thank Nick Sternick, who's the U.S. Distributor of Comet, for this prize. Now, there are about 50 other prizes. You do not have to donate to win other prizes, just this one. You may win, we've got Yaesu handy talkies, we've got weather stations, we've got handbooks, speakers, dummy loads, SWR meters, antenna tuners, we got everything. So if you, if Hambot calls your name, all you got to do is just say, I'm here, and that prize is yours. So, again, we got about 40 or more prizes for you guys. You know, if you can't afford to donate, don't do it. We don't want you to do it. But let me say this. If you do win a $200 prize, you know, just throw $10 in Kitty, and that'll help us out a whole lot, and you'll get a $200 prize for $10. So I don't personally handle these myself. The arrangements I have, the arrangements I have worked out with 99.9% of all the donors are, they will ship it directly to you. That keeps me out of being the middleman. So they don't have to ship to me, and then I have to ship to you, and, you know, double shipping cost, and, you know, me seeing something like this, I want to keep it. So, you know, it never passes my hands. There are 2 or 3 things that do come through me. For instance, there's going to be a Begali key again. Bruna has always been great to donate a very, very nice Begali Expedition key, and it's engraved, and it's a $200 or $300 key. I always pick that up from her at Hamvention. I will ship it, so whoever wins it, you'll see on the prize page that all I'm asking is that they pay shipping for the $200 Begali key. And as I tried to last year, I told the winner last year, you know, some people may not work CW, and as I told the guy last year, I said, you know, hey, if you don't want this, I'll give you $100 for it right now. And he took it. I mean, he took the key. He took the key. He didn't take the money. So I was trying to get me a nice Begali key. I've got a nice Vibraplex Chrome Deluxe Vibraplex that my parents bought me in 1964. So it's still a great key. But Begali
Is that
makes
a bug?
That what? No, it's just
a bug?
it's just the key. It's the keyer.
Okay.
Begali makes a great key, very precision. You're gonna have to see this, and she'll come by our booth too, and we'll get her on the show. We always love seeing Bruna there. So hey, just a couple, quick announcements, real quick. Again, let me get through some announcements. ICOM has a special swag deal. So up through Hamvention, if you're going to Hamvention, you can become one of the lucky winners to take home a limited edition swag kit. So visit ICOM's website to enter the swag contest. You know, you can go to www.icomamerica.com/amateur and pick up some swag there. Has some neat deals. I don't know, bags and coffee cups and who knows what else. So they'll be giving a lot of those away to people that win it. Astronaut Doug Wheelock, he'll be joining me Friday evening. He's coming in just to be on our show. So he'll be there with us on Saturday. For you guys that know, have met him, this is Doug right here. A great guy. He's now director of another section of NASA. He'll be coming in Friday night to see us, and then he'll be with us on Saturday. Also on Saturday, we've got this guy right here. This is Jet Jurgensmeyer, KE0UWZ. You guys may recognize who that is, but that is Boyd Baxter from Last Man Standing. He plays Boyd on Last Man Standing. So he'll be there a little while on Saturday afternoon. So we're looking forward to seeing Jet there. And that's about all the announcements I had right now. So let's pull our gang back in and see what everybody. Oh wait, we've got to get Pat. Pat's got to do his review here, and let's get Pat in here real quick. And then once Pat finishes here, we'll just get into an open mic here. So Pat, welcome back. You've been off a couple weeks, but you've got us a segment here on a product, right?
Yeah. Well, we did, a couple weeks ago, did a little presentation on transverters and how if you want to get on some of these microwave bands or these upper bands, you need an IF radio. And I've been looking at a lot of different options for IF radios that I've used over the years. But I just picked this up. This is, you can see it here on the screen, this is the Hobby PCB RS HFIQ SDR transceiver. This is a 5 watt, very small. You can see it's a very small box. This is a 5 watt, fully functional SDR transceiver by Hobby PCB. It is 80 through 10 meters, fully filtered. It's got band pass filters, low pass filters. It's not just a little dongle. I mean, it's a full blown HF radio. It puts out 5 watts. It is low power. It is perfect for driving a transverter. And you can use it with many different platforms. If you go to hobbypcb.com, first of all, I want to say that the guys there are unbelievable as far as support goes. They have a forum. They have an easy start section, so once you get the radio, you can get it up and flying pretty quick. There's a few little things you need in addition to it. When you get it, it's just a board. The price varies. They have different sales on them, but right now the transceiver is $239. You power it up with 12 volts. You need a little USB microphone. I'm using this little microphone here. I don't know if you can see it, it's a little retro mic put out by Flag Power. That looks like an old vintage mic. It's a USB mic, and that's what I've used. You can use, Power Console by Flex will work with it. HD SDR. There's several different SDR software platforms out there that'll work with, and they also give you all the configurations for the drivers for the transmit side. Now, it won't work with SDR Uno for the RSP Play 1 series of radios because those are strictly receivers, and there's some uniqueness to that software. But there's quite a few out there that you can use, and the radio is just amazing. My main radio, I have a couple radios. I have a pair of 7300s that I use for HF, and then I've got my good old FT1000MP. I just love that radio. And I put this little guy up against it, just doing some basic testing, and I'll tell you what, it gave the Mark V a run for its money. I was absolutely blown away for that kind of price, how well this little radio does. It's simple to set up. You can have it up and flying right away. I've used it on my PC here. I just picked up a Windows 10 tablet. I'm going to start working with it with that. They do make a whole Hobby PCB. Probably the thing they're most famous for is their amplifiers, their little Soft Rock 50 amps. They do a lot of QRP things. But this little transceiver, if you want to try an SDR transceiver, something that's not going to break the bank, you cannot beat it for the price. It's just an outstanding little radio. I can't say enough good things about it. The enclosure is all metal. I added that to it. Keep any RF out of it, but it just works. And I'm using this to drive my 222 transverter on sideband and digital modes. And it works well. So go check out their website. I'm not endorsed by them by any means, but it's just hobbypcb.com. They've been around a long time. They put a lot of neat little products out. And again, if you want to try something very unique, and if you've never delved into the SDR world, for the price, it's amazing. You can't beat it.
That's a cool little project. A cool little.
Yeah. So this
cool
radio is CW and single sideband?
Yes, all mode.
Okay. What is the price on that?
$239.
$239. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm hobbypcb.com's not coming up right now, but probably because of the thousands of viewers that are going there at once.
Trying to order. And they do run specials every now and then. I've seen this actually drop down to $199 around the holidays. But they've been around for a while, and the support there is outstanding. They make some very, very unique little products. They do have a tri-band. It's FM only. They do have a tri-band transceiver for 220 and 450. I can't think of the name of it right now. It's called the RS-UV3A, and it's 2 meters, 220, and 450, FM only, a little 5-watt QRP radio. I think I'm going to throw that on my list for next year or in the fall. But this little guy is just amazing how well it works for the price. If you want to try it.
Are they going to be represented at Dayton?
I don't know. I've been looking on their site, Dave. I can't see anything, but I would assume they are. I mean, they're a big enough outfit. I would believe they are. They also have something that just came out. It's called their IQ32, and what that is when you buy the board, the transceiver board for this, it's actually an enclosure. I'm on their website and it's pretty slow right now for some reason. Maybe it's doing some updates. It's an enclosure with a Raspberry Pi and an actual touch screen on it. So you can take that board, the board that's in here, slide that into the case, hook up the cables, have a touch screen display, and it's got a little Pi in there. And they sell that radio for $529 turnkey. Very nicely made, nice looking, and then they sell an upgrade kit for this radio as well. So those are some options that are out there.
Okay, yeah, my site's up now too. They've got some nice things here.
They do. And again, very affordable. Yeah. Maybe what we can do, when I get my Windows 10 tablet flying, maybe in the next couple of weeks when you guys get back, we can do a little on-air demo with it and throw it in line and show everybody how it works. But again, it just flew right out of the box the way it was supposed to.
Have you tried doing any digital modes with it?
No, I haven't, but I've made about a dozen sideband contacts with the cheap mic. That microphone was a whole $9, and the audio quality was pretty good. I've got a Hi-O mic I'm going to use to hook up to it eventually, but I haven't tried digital, but I don't see why it shouldn't work.
Okay.
This is interesting because I know that QRP Labs is going to be coming out with a very similar radio. I don't think it is technically SDR because it's all analog, but it seems to use the same functions that you would use in an SDR radio. And the names are I'm having a senior moment on the name of the detector on it, but he promised it for November of 2017, so it's a little bit late.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
a little bit.
Well, the QRP craze is nuts. I mean, everybody's into it. Again, I bought it just for an IF for transverters, but if it works out well with the tablet and that's what I'll use for the VHF UHF contests this year.
Well, QRP is great for CW. I can almost always get a contact with 5 watts, but on sideband, somehow my itchy fingers turn on the amp.
Yeah.
I was doing some sideband with the 7300 today. I'm testing one right now, and I can't seem to talk to anybody in the United States. I had I've talked with what was it? Italy, Canada, and St. Lucia today, and I still can't get to talk to anybody in the U.S. I did some FT8 and got a bunch of stateside contact.
Hey, Dave, there's a menu button on the 7300. I think it's menu 34. It's worldwide or international only.
Right.
So
okay.
Yeah,
you might check that.
Dow, thanks. I'll do that.
Yeah. Hey,
well, I think I'm looking at this thing now, and this is not a kit, is it?
No, it's all pre-built.
All pre-built. And I see the little Nano on there, the Arduino Nano on there. That's a good price for it.
Yeah, and if you
I think I paid that much about 20 years ago for my MFJ 2040 QRP rig. It was CW only.
Exactly, and their little forum thing, if you go to their forum deal, they have different builds of the software. The software is kept updated, and you can download it and you can play with it. And again, like I said, the support from these folks is really, really, really good. So they'll stand behind it. And I bought got the little enclosure for it. I just figured RF proof it up a little bit and don't want to damage anything. And that was machined out very, very nice and just very nicely done. The only suggestion I wish it had is maybe some of the plugs and that on the back would be nice, but hey, you know, when you're only dealing with something that's the size of a QSL card, you can't be that picky. The outputs are where they are. But again, it works just fine.
Good stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
I want to show you something I've got here. I haven't had a chance to put it out there yet, but I tell you what, I think that Bob Rumsey makes some of the best ballons there is. This is Ballon Designs. This is if you ever open one of these up and look at it, you know the material he uses, the type wiring and the toroids and everything. Everything is heavy duty stainless steel. This is a 1-to-1 maxi choke ballon, 5 kilowatt. It handles 5 kilowatts. So one of the things that I'm going to do is I've got a fan dipole up out there, inverted V for 80, 40, and 20. And I've got just one of those regular little cheapy ballons on there, you know. It's supposed to handle a kilowatt, but at Free Fest a couple weeks ago, I picked me up a different amplifier. I love my MFJ AL80B. It'll run a kilowatt. But I picked up I picked up an Alpha 86. And at just a great price. And the Alpha 86 is a full legal limit amp, and it's advertised as, if you want to set it on 1.5 kilowatts, lay a brick on a key and walk away for 24 hours.
I've seen that. Yeah.
It'll run it, you know. And you know the thing's built like a tank, and it's got nice digital displays. So I've got that amp, and I was just a little afraid that I needed to kind of upgrade my antenna systems out there a little bit. So I'm gonna put this 5 kilowatt ballon out there on it, take the other one down. It's been out in the weather for many years too, so it probably needs to be replaced out there. The thing about this Alpha amp here is it's got some type computer control in it, and if the SWR swings above 2 to 1, it'll go on standby, and it takes 3 minutes for it to come out of standby. So, you know,
Wow.
and if you watch your SWR, and when you peak on power levels, you can actually watch your SWR peak, you know. So, you know, that kind of stuff does happen a little bit, but it's been very solid. It's been very good. I actually wired it. I don't have 220 back in the shack. I actually wired it for 110. I know that's not great, but I'm still getting a solid kilowatt, or up to 1500 out on a 120 volt circuit. And as long as it'll do that, I don't see any need to run my 220 back here.
You're pushing it.
It's you know it's pretty close to the rating of that circuit. You know, it's a 20 amp circuit. But you know, the interesting thing about that amplifier, it's got two what is it? This ceramic tubes. They're
3CX800.
It's oh man, it's the 2-something-800s, 2CX800s or something like that.
3CX800s.
Well, I think these are 2 CX800s. But anyway, if you look those prices, those 2 tubes up, you can pay as much as $1,800 for those 2 tubes. They're expensive, but I have seen it cheaper. You know, some places where you can actually get those 2 tubes for about $800 if you really shop around. But man, they're expensive. But this amp is probably 25 years old, and it's running just like it did, you know, back when it was new. So I didn't have any issue with it.
Once, about that long ago, they had their factory near Longmont, Colorado. And I went up there for a tour of the plant. And needless to say, they weren't selling a whole lot of them because they were like $7,000 a piece at the time. But it was just totally computerized. You turn it on and forget it, and it works for you.
Yeah, so I saw, like I said, I saw a good deal, and I picked it up, and I always wanted one, but never thought I'd have one. But you never know what you're going to run into at places like Free Fest. That's the Memphis Ham Fest. It's free. They even give you a ticket. If you want a table, it doesn't even cost you for a table at the flea market. And they even give you a ticket for the drawing for free. You can't ask for better than Free Fest.
You'll love that amp. I've got an older Alpha, and
Yeah.
it's just a workhorse. But you just watch the tubes, because again, you'll need to take out a second mortgage to
Yeah,
recable it.
yeah. Hey, so we'll be running, we're going to run a D-Star and DMR up. We don't know what we're going to be on. But if you guys follow us on a trip up Wednesday, just log into the chat room and you can communicate with us in the truck, and we'll tell you what HF frequency we're on, or we'll coordinate something. We'll probably get on one of the DMR talk groups like 310 or something, which is, you know, US wide, and maybe make a few contacts. Then we might move over to our own talk group here. Hey, there's a special event station coming up here in Memphis right now. It's for the Memphis Bicentennial. It's W4M, and it's during Memphis in May. Memphis in May is a big celebration Memphis has down on the river in the park, and there will be like 100,000 people down there. And it's kind of like Dayton, but it's all grass out there by the river. And it usually rains pretty hard right in the middle of it. They bring big bands in and have stages. They have barbecue cook-off for 3 or 4 days, and it gets pretty muddy, and it kind of looks like Woodstock out there sometimes, if you ever see those pictures. But so they've got a special event station. Memphis Bicentennial's running the whole month of May, W4M, and you can let's see, they got some frequencies here. 14240 or 7255. 14240 or 7255 is where they're going to be. And they've got a nice certificate if you want to work the special event station. I don't know, Bill Brown, I thought was going to join us tonight. He said he might not make it, but if he did, it'd be late. But I don't know if you guys have followed our balloon launch. Dave, you've been out of pocket for a while. You may have not even seen our balloon launch. But
No.
we launched a Pico balloon here about 3 weeks ago. The entire payload was less than 12 grams, and that included the GPS and the APRS unit, which would also do whisper. And it was just a standard mile-hour party balloon. And it was launched 3 weeks ago. And since it was APRS, we don't have complete tracking around the world, but we tracked it across the U.S. It made a turn. It went down under Puerto Rico and Haiti. And then we lost the APRS track there because there's no APRS, across the ocean. So we went across the ocean. We went across Africa. There are no APRS systems in Africa. So Bill kept doing the calculations, and he almost hit it to the hour. We actually came up on the radar in China, just about when he predicted. And we were flying at 30,000 feet the entire trip. We got off the coast of Japan. And let's see, we got off the coast of Japan. I've got a visual here. Let me get it on here for you guys. There we go. We got off the coast of Japan, and we hit a major storm. And I was watching the altitude on this thing, and I watched it. This was like midnight one night. We had already traveled 14,000 miles in 14 days. And I was watching altitude 30,000, 25,000, 20, 18, 16, 15. Boy, every 2 minutes it was dropping, 500 or 1,000 feet. And then it started going back up at 11,000. And so we didn't know if it was going to come back and recover, but then we went out of range of APRS. So we didn't know if it actually went down or if it came back up. So we didn't get picked up in Hawaii, and it never made it to the West Coast for APRS. So we just assume it went down there off the coast of Japan in that storm. So we plan on launching. The next balloon I wanted to launch was using the sushi wrap balloon, which is a very scientific balloon that could stay up for a year. and I wanted to use Whisper because it'll transmit 7,000 miles.
Yeah.
And it will, if you're not even over a country where you don't have Whisper people to receive it, different countries will pick it up. So I wanted to use Whisper, but Bill's not in a position to launch for us. We think we're going to launch again Monday, and we'll launch another Mylar balloon and another APRS. Now, hopefully it will take a track a little bit more north and go across Europe. But Dave, this thing's got a lot of a smart built into that little 12 gram package. For instance, it can't transmit over countries like Korea and North Korea and Yemen. And this thing knows by GPS, I'm over North Korea, I can't transmit. It also, different countries have different APRS receiving frequencies. It also automatically switches. So we're going to be launching that one probably Monday, APRS again, so we won't have tracking over the ocean. It'll be spotty, but when it does pick up, the dots will connect. And then in Dayton, we'll probably launch W5KUB-3. On Saturday, we'll probably launch another balloon Saturday at Dayton with the same type system. And then hopefully we will get to launching our sushi wrap balloon with Whisper. The problem with the Whisper is it requires a 34-foot antenna on 20 meters, and it's just difficult to launch, especially for buildings or power lines and things like that. So that's why we're having to go back to APRS. But I thought that's interesting, and I learned a lot about balloons and millibars and altitude. And you know, people don't realize it, but there's a lot of measurements that go into this, and weights and measurements and volumes, and you can make that thing fly wherever you want it. You know, knowing the atmospheric pressure at 41,000 feet, you can set that balloon up and it will fly at 41,000 feet, just about the entire circumference of the Earth. And that's where we want to shoot for with our sushi wrap balloon, is to be up in a 40, 41, 42,000, so we can be above most of these storms. We just had some bad luck. But that's on our website. If you click on balloon, if you click on balloon tab on the menu on w5kub.com, there's a tracking page and some information about the balloon. And there's two different ways to track it. One is HabHub, which is high altitude balloon, and the other is APRS. Both will track it. So, man, we're excited. Well, guys, you know, this time every year we get so excited about getting ready for Dayton and making that trip. Josh, are you coming by yourself, or any of your local friends going to be up there with you?
So I'm coming by myself, and we've got this is my first time. So I'm going to be bringing some little bit of camera equipment. I'm going to try and stream from the hotel room at the end of the night, just on what I see, what I'm interested in. But we're doing a meetup Saturday night at 6 p.m. at the Warped Wing Brewery in downtown Dayton. There's a bunch of other YouTubers who kind of reached out and said, hey, we want to set something up. So Warped Wing Brewery, 6 p.m. Saturday. And at that same time, roughly after the show starts, I'm going to be giving away this U-Bit X, this micro-bit X that a listener, a subscriber actually sent it to me to give away. So you don't have to be going to Dayton. I'm giving this away on Discord, on the Ham Radio Crash Course Discord channel.
Cool.
And yeah, so you know, there's all kinds of stuff going on.
So are you going to be giving it away to people at the meeting, the dinner that you have?
No, you don't have to go to Hamvention.
Okay.
You just need to go to the Ham Radio Crash Course Discord and go to the giveaway section and click the little horn. That's it.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, I look forward to seeing you at that meetup. If we don't see each other.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Are you are you on the email? I got to send you guys the emails if I haven't.
I've got my email up, yeah.
I'll send something over there. Excellent. Well, yeah, no, I'm very excited. I don't know what to expect, so I'm not going in with any expectations, except when people contact me, a guy named Connor, young man Connor, he's actually doing a talk Saturday morning for the young hams, or youth and ham radio for doing satellite communication. So I'm going to be going to that, which I'm pretty excited about. But yeah, I'm just going to absorb it. Take it
What
in.
I did last year was I hung around a lot at Tom's booth, and so I can meet people there.
Yeah, I'll be doing that too.
And guess what? We will have an ice cooler there with drinks.
Which will be definitely.
You can sit down. You can sit down. I tell you, I haven't had the luxury to really walk around and see all of Xenia. It's really spread out. It's a lot more spread out than Hera Arena was. Hera Arena was all in a big parking lot, paved parking lot, and then the buildings were all connected together, and everything was kind of inside. Xenia has separate buildings, and they're all spaced out there. And the flea market is way down in the horse track. There's more flea market over here. There's a big center out there between the buildings where the flagpole is. There's food out there and so forth. And that's where we're going to launch the balloons from that area too. But, we used to walk so much, our feet would be hurting so bad. It was like we were so tired at the end of the day, man, when we came in from the Hera. Again, especially doing the webcasts and stuff, I don't get out like I used to. I might be able to get out for maybe 30 minutes or something and look around. And hopefully, Josh, you or Dave or somebody will grab somebody and bring them in a booth and just pick up a couple mics and you guys take over the channel for a little while. And then, I'll go outside and get a hamburger or something,
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Are you going to have the mobile camera? I think you mentioned that a couple
weeks
back.
Yeah, we got a couple ways we can connect back, or what's worked out really well for us. The iPhones and the Samsung, all those cameras make excellent high def pictures, and it's been very easy just to have people go out in the flea market and places and take maybe a 15-minute video and bring it back. And we just load that file on. It's not exactly live. It may be 30 minutes old, but you're still getting to see what's going on here, during the day. So we might try some live remote stuff. We'll definitely have some. We'll definitely have some.
I got
some video.
A gimbal. I got a little camera attachment for my phone. It's a remote gimbal setup, so I'll be bringing that and doing some video.
Well, and another thing we could even do, and I'm gonna take a second computer and network it in like I do here for the show for Skype. And for instance, you could take your phone right there on Skype back to the booth, and stream video back to the booth, and I could put it on the show just like I'm doing right now.
Excellent. Well, I'll take you some footage.
And that'll be live,
gimbal.
That'll be live, and also, Josh, YouTube will record everything, so you can always come back. You can always come back later, and we can download that and cut whatever pieces out to be used wherever you want to.
Well, that's something. That's like I was doing 24-hour. I was doing daily vlogs. That's like a 5-minute vlog. I'm gonna go over to the little flea market, take a video, then we'll edit it immediately and cut it down and throw it on live. That's an interesting idea.
There you go.
Well, most of our stuff is live and it's not edited, so you get what it is,
Okay.
I do my live stream Saturdays, so I'll just do it from Dayton. And Josh, don't you do yours on Friday night?
I do. I'm trying to figure out what to do. I'm worried about the internet speed, so I haven't decided what I'm going to do.
Josh,
I'm going to get a Wi-Fi hotspot. I
think you're in the same hotel as me. I think they're at Beaver Creek.
Yeah.
So their Wi-Fi, their internet there's fairly good. But if you got a hotspot, that's just as good, like a jetpack or something.
Have you streamed before from that hotel?
Oh yeah, I have.
Oh, okay. Then I'm less worried.
Yeah, but sometimes I worry about being on somebody else's network like that as far as security, and I might just crank up the Verizon jetpack or something,
Yeah, well, that's a good way to look at it too.
And it might even give you a little faster speed, but I think the speeds are good there. You'll get on the internet. Let's see.
Tom.
Uh-huh.
Tom, I had a quick question for you. I saw a thing on YouTube, it was a day or two ago. It looks like somebody bought Hera out, and they bought it out, and there was a thing on one of the Dayton channels that the guy's going to restore the whole place.
Oh, really? I thought they were
Yeah.
going to bulldoze it down. I didn't know.
No, he's trying to buy. I haven't been there I mean, I've been to Dayton over 20 times, but I guess he's trying to buy the golf course and everything behind Hera.
Yeah.
But it was on just 2 days ago. He's going to restore the entire place back. And they were even mentioning in the article, if you go to YouTube, you can find it.
Yeah.
I just put Hera Arena Dayton. They were even hoping that Hamvention would eventually return there after it was all restored.
Yeah, that's always been kind of the talk, but I don't know that will happen. But you know, that place was getting really bad. But a lot of people complained, but I never complained about it. We were inside the last 5 years, and yeah, ceiling tiles would be missing in places. And a few years ago, let me tell you, and some people in the chat room probably remember this. There was actually a guy that had to set up a tent inside the building so he would stay dry. But
Oh, man.
you know, and they never had any air conditioner. You know, that was one of those secrets. The air conditioner never ran there. But hey, it was fun. There's old memories from Dayton, and you guys probably, well, you may not even know about this. We talked a little about it, I think last week or something on the show, or maybe the week before. But I don't know, 7 or 8, 9 years ago, the sewer exploded. Let me tell you. At Hera, the bathrooms, the men's bathrooms were really. You get 20,000 people going in a bathroom, you can imagine how it is, you know. But anyway, the sewer pipes that left the building and went under the flea market out in the parking lot, they exploded. And sewage was coming out in the flea market out there. And they had to bring the hazmat people in, and they had to move people, and they put the yellow tape up and all that.
I was there the year the porta potty stand collapsed too, and about 30 of them went over out in the back.
Well, many years ago,
Back in 92 or 3.
Yeah, many years ago, the porta potties were inside the fence where you could go to it. The last 10 or 15 years, they moved them outside the fence, and hey, it's like they had Barney Fife there with a gun, and every time you'd go out of the fence to go to the bathroom, you better have your ticket to get back in, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, I remember one year when the porta potties were inside, there was one next to the back door of Hera, right next to the hot dog stand. It turned over.
Oh.
And that was also a cleanup deal right there, but that was fun. Hey, you know, I see a lot of people in the chat room that are starting to get into our 40-meter net. I just want to say hello to everybody that's joining us on 40-meter net on Tuesdays. Glad to see you here. I'm seeing a bunch of people that have joined us just because they found us on the 40-meter net. So welcome, guys.
Tom, what time is your net on 40 meters?
It's at 5:30 Central. So that'd be, what, 4:30 your time, I guess.
Okay, and what frequency?
7180.
7180. I'll try to join that next week.
And that's we put that up in the general.
Next week,
We put that up in the general band, so you know as many people that can join in on it, you know. But hey, man, you know, we got fond memories of Dayton. We used to go up there many years ago, 30 years ago, 35 years ago. We would caravan up here. It may be 10 of us, 15 of us go. And we would get a hotel. Back then, you could get a hotel room for $30.
Yep.
And we would put 10 people in that room, and that worked out $3 a piece. Okay, so $3 a piece. Now, that wasn't the nicest hotel, let me tell you. Let me describe the hotel, and just a quick story. And the show is just kind of off the rails tonight, but let's just have a good time. So here I was with my buddies. We were in my room. I think it was just 4 of us in the room. Guy's beating on the door. He's sticking a key in the door, trying to open the door. And I'm thinking, what's going on, man? Somebody's trying to get in our room. And he actually gets the door open. He had a key to my room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I let him in. He comes in. He's got a girlfriend. He's got his girlfriend with him. So he comes in. He closes the door, and he says, "What are you guys doing in my room?" And I go, well, your room? I said, this is my room. See, here's my key. And he said, well, this is my room. He held his key up. Well, I didn't know it, but my buddies, they went and sat down at the back of the room and got real quiet because I didn't know what was going on. So I'm talking to him, and he pulls the curtain back, and he says, there's cops and a bunch of other things, all outside, and he closes the curtain back. And I can't go out. And I didn't realize it, but he had a gun. And so I'm here kind of negotiate with him about the room. My buddies done sat down, they saw the gun. So anyway, he gets on the phone, he calls the office, and he looks out the window and says, there's cops and a bunch of other stuff all outside, when he closes the curtain up. So the manager says, you got to leave, man. That's their room. You got to leave. So he says, no, man, I can't leave. There's cops and other stuff all outside. I can't leave. So the manager says, okay, look, I'll get you another room here, but you're going to have to leave. He says, okay, call me back. So he hangs up. So the guy introduces himself to us. His name is Fast Eddie. That's his name.
Yeah.
Fast Eddie.
Sounds about right.
And he says, look, man, he says, I'm sorry. He says, this is normally my room when I come to town. I guess they let him keep the key. And then he says, you guys have been really nice to us. He said, when I get my room, do you want to come down and bust it up or anything? It's okay. You can come on down and bust my room up. He says, can I get you any women? He was just trying to be so nice to us. And the next day, we saw his car out there. It was a white Cadillac, Eldorado or whatever, one of those big Cadillacs. And he had the big Texan horn, cow horn on the hood. Mm. And his tag said Fast Eddie. So anyway, we
traveling really anonymously.
We actually packed our bags up. That we took them to Hamfest with us that next morning because we didn't want to leave them in the room. You can imagine why. So we took our bags with us. And I stopped at the office, and the guy says, "Well, you do want to stay, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah, if you don't send another guy with a gun in." He said, "No, that's not going to happen." Okay, but we took our bags with us. End of the day, we drive back up here and pull up the door, and the door's halfway open. And I look. They've done rented my room to somebody else. And I recognize the guys. They were from Memphis. There was like 5 or 6 more guys in my room that were from Memphis. So anyway, a couple years later, that place actually was called the Royal Motel. And a couple years later, it was reported on the TV news that night that the Royal Motel caught on fire. And it was called in by a ham radio operator. Can you imagine 15,000 ham radio operators all running outside with handy-talkies and hitting that phone patch, and calling in back then, the hotel's on fire, But, hey, it had a roof over our head. Now, you go in the bathroom, there wasn't a window. The window was missing. It had a yellow sink, and it may have had a blue toilet, and it looked like there had been a fire in a trash can. The rug was burned or whatever. So anyway, we have started staying at nice places since then.
Yeah.
And in all my travel years, I've decided that it's worth paying a little more to have a nice place to stay.
Yeah, really. Well, last year, my wife and I bought a travel trailer in May, and they kept delaying the delivery date until finally it was Tuesday before Dayton. So we drove up there to pick up the trailer with all our stuff in suitcases, hitched the trailer on, and got straight on the highway and went to Dayton. So that was our shakedown cruise, was the trip to Dayton. So we've got another trailer this year. It's a little bigger. And we're going to stay down at the Lebanon KOA, which is a little closer than the Dayton KOA. And so anybody wants to come down there and visit, you certainly can. But I think we'll only put up 2 people in the trailer, me and my wife.
All right.
Well,
Now-
I'll ask a question then, because
Yeah.
the first time going to Dayton. What's the HF scene like at nighttime? It must be insane, right? Is there everybody and their mother out on the bands? Is it totally nuts?
I don't know. I don't listen. I don't turn the radio on. We found
Okay.
out in early years, back then everybody had a 2-meter handy-talkie or whatever,
Sure.
440. But we found out back then that it was just about impossible to make a contact or call your buddy. I mean, if he would get, if he was, 800-900 yards away or inside the building, there was so much chatter going on. You couldn't make a contact. There was so much
That's
intermod and all kinds of stuff going on. We tried
Hey,
everything.
Josh,
Yes.
you know, one thing that would be kind of cool that if you're going to be out with your little remote camera is out in the flea market, at least at Hera. I've never been to Xenia yet. Next year for me, but there's a lot of different groups. Like there's the AM group that has a bunch of tables. I know there's a big VHF group. There's a lot of different groups that meet out in the flea market areas, and that would be cool to do a little video into those people and talk to them.
Yeah, I'm planning. I'm bringing more audio equipment than cameras because I've got my dead cats and all that stuff just to talk to more people. I really just want to go out there and kind of just soak it all in, experience what it's all about. I'm really excited about the flea market. That's probably the most exciting thing for me. I get to go to so few ham swaps. The one I'm familiar with, W6TRW, down in Northrop Grumman, right? That's kind of well known. But you hear the stories of the people that come out there and like, man, you should have been here 20 years ago. It was the best. It was everything, blah, blah, blah. And now it's like broken down laptops and broken electronics is the par for the course. So I want to go to a real ham radio swap meet. So I'm really excited about it.
Well, one thing about it,
SWL groups, a lot of cool stuff.
one thing about it, and somebody made a joke that you'll see the same out in the flea market. You'll see the same radios out there every year, just from one booth to the other. It just kind of floats around out there. Talking about HF, there are people that operate HF out there walking around. I mean, they'll have a backpack on, and they'll have a 25-foot antenna sticking up out of their backpack and walk around.
There's a buddy of mine made a Hamvention bingo card, and it's a little. If you see all these different things at Hamvention, and one of the squares is the mag loop guy. The guy who's got a mag loop on his back, and he's walking around tuning up his mag loop working HF, or he's got a hot dog in the other hand warming it up. I don't know, but it should be pretty interesting.
I don't know if Sam is on the bingo card, but Sam wears he's from Dayton. He wears a hard hat, and he's got a crank-up tower on top of his hard hat with a beam that actually rotates. And he can sit there and he can actually turn it.
I think he is out there. I got to go.
He can turn the crank and he can crank the tower up.
Yep.
Is the guy with the hard hat with the little cam ball still there, Tom?
It
used to be. Yeah, he used to wear a white hard hat and he had a yellow smiley sticker.
That was me. That was us. That's us.
A cam on it.
That's the helmet cam.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the helmet cam. In fact, I pulled that out and dusted it off the other day. If you look on Hamvention's page down at the bottom, you'll see a picture of that and a link to us. Go down to hamvention.org. Go to the very bottom and you'll see the helmet cam. That didn't work out real well for us because back then we had poor internet connections. This was like 20 years ago, and we never knew what we were aiming the helmet at, and we were turning our head so fast that everything was just a blur all the time, just really blurry. And are you at hamvention.org yet?
Yeah, I found it.
Do you see it down at the bottom?
You shared it with some other people though, didn't you? Didn't several people walk around with it, or was it mainly you?
No. I got a picture of Gordon West trying it on, but we didn't hire him. He didn't make the cut. Yeah.
Now, Josh, there is something you need to be prepared for when you get to Dayton, and it's a 4-letter word: rain.
What is that?
Rain.
I'm from California.
I know. So am I originally. And yeah, it's going to be, it will rain and at intermittent intervals. And one of the things that people have complained about at the new Xenia location is drainage in the flea market area is not very good.
Okay. Well, I'm doing the parking thing. I'm going to try and do the off-site parking to avoid the potential rain
Right.
run in the field that I heard about. So I'm gonna try to avoid that, or just Uber it. I don't know what the Uber's like out there, but
Well, the first year at Xenia, everybody out in the flea market, they thought the ground was really packed and would hold everybody up. But the day before Hamvention, where we were setting up, we had the biggest rain, I think, in history. And that ground got so wet, every single person in the flea market got stuck out there. They had to pull everybody out. It wasn't nothing but ruts. And then next year, there were a lot of people complaining. So the next year, they put down asphalt, like these shingle cuttings and asphalt, down the roads where you can actually walk down without having to walk on the grass. And you can actually drive down it too. But your setup will be on the grass, but you can actually walk down without, walking on the grass.
Oh, it was terrible that first year because even though it had the grass got all worn down in the mud.
Yeah.
And it was just a mud lane out there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I want to go to the MFJ booth and see if they have any more things for me to review. And it's been a while since I've done one for them.
I'm the same. I wasn't gonna say that out loud, Dave, but I would do the same thing. With a big bag, fill it up, guys. Let's do this.
Hey, yeah, I want to do that. And I talked to the ICOM guy, Ray Novak, about sponsorship when I saw him down in Albuquerque, and he was very much for it. But by the time it worked its way through the system, they were going to send me free radios, and I've got a stack that's a good 2 feet tall in the other room of free VHF radios.
Yeah.
And I'm turning them down now.
So Dave, you from my point of view, you know what I do. I can't deal with that country. So I can't get any of those stacks of free stuff. If you want to dump any off in the mail and send it over to me, that'd be perfect. Because I'll just be talking to you. So I can talk to you. I can't talk to that other country.
Oh, I understand. I understand the reason why.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'll bring a few to Dayton.
There you go. I'd love that. Thank you.
Yeah. And you can do your take on that. We've got to figure out some way to collaborate.
Oh, yeah.
I suspect, I think we have about the same number of subscribers now. Mm-hmm. How many have you got? 50, 52?
I just passed 52,000. That's
okay.
Crazy to say.
You just passed me because I'm at 51.5.
It's that Yesu video I posted on Monday. That was what did it.
Well, I did a video that you commented on. I appreciate your comment, where I just went through the marketplace for HF.
Great idea. Great video.
And that's had over 10,000 views.
Yeah, I was like, man, that is such a good idea. And it's so helpful to people that are starting out to just say, how far does your money go with this hobby, right? And particularly on HF, it's not hard to get a decent VHF radio nowadays. You're just paying for the features you like, and there's a really easy list to do that. But HF can be a bit of a minefield, so that was perfect. You're the right person to do that for sure. Yeah. That was a great video.
I suspect your viewers are a lot younger than mine. I think the average age of my viewers is about 60.
Yeah, I think I trend a little bit younger than that. Hey, I wanted to also compliment you on the 7300. I love the radio. I know it's different than the Yesu though, but the comment that you made on your video about the marketplace, I was like, that's spot on. So, yeah, it's pretty revolutionary as far as I think bringing people to HF.
Yeah, well, I think if the league gets its way on this latest thing that's before the FCC now about giving the techs some meaningful HF privileges, you're going to see a sudden uptick. Frankly, I think that is a fabulous idea.
I agree. I did multiple videos on it. The way I look at it is, and in this case, I don't have any problem looking at other countries and say, how are they doing it? And many other countries offer HF access to technician similar levels. And there may be some bad apples, but by and large, you got to give a little taste for them to want to have more and earn more. Right now, technician is kind of walled off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the league is doing a podcast now called What Next?
Yeah, it's good.
But the question that I get from technicians is that all?
Yes. Aside from satellites, I love to point people towards satellites. I think it's a very active, fast-paced, amateur radio hobby, but you're only as good as the past that you can participate on.
Right.
And the gear to get started, Kenwood D72, probably the best radio to enter into satellites, and an Arrow antenna or an Elk, and you're good. You can make very wide contacts across the country easily.
Yep.
But that's a specific niche of people, I think, to go outside at 1 in the morning and start waving an antenna around, which I've done multiple times. So yeah, I'm with you.
Well, good. I'm looking forward to Dayton, and we'll see everybody there.
All right, well,
just
guys,
looked at my
we've kind of gone long tonight. Of course, it's early out there for all three of you guys.
Yep.
It's almost the next day here. And,
Well, you old people just have to go to bed early. That's all there is
I got
to it.
I got to go over tomorrow morning and help a friend put up an antenna. I'll take my air cannon or slingshot or something over here and help him get an antenna back in the air. And we got to start. I've already made a list. I got to start taking my list and checking it twice and start staging stuff in the garage for our trip next week. And next week, I don't think we'll have a live show next week. We leave Wednesday morning. It'd be hard for me to do it Tuesday night since a lot of the studio stuff's had to get torn down. But I think what we might do, I'll either pick out some rerun and something good to run, or we may just set the camera up in the garage and have the chat room up, and as we're packing the truck, you guys can see what it takes to pack the truck and our skills there. And it's much easier now that we've got that shell, that camper top on the back of the truck. It's completely all waterproof now. We used to have to tarp everything up, man, and that was not fun, tarping stuff up.
What's the weather looking like? What's the long range weather?
I haven't even looked at it because I know whatever they say it is, it's going to be that plus something else.
Yep.
I mean,
They've had some horrible weather
Yeah.
so far this year.
Yeah.
Tornadoes, rain.
it'll rain at least. It'll rain some at least one day there. Don't know which day. I've been there some years it rained the entire weekend. I've been there maybe 3 weekends in 37 years that it didn't rain at all.
Wow.
Only 3. And then most of the other time, it would, scattered rain, for a couple hours here or there, and.
Long range forecast says 73 and sunny, so that would be just perfect.
Yep, it would be. Yeah. All right, guys.
You'll enjoy it, Josh. You will. You'll have a ton of fun. I wish I could go this year, but you'll love it.
We'll see everybody here next week in Ohio. Thanks for Dave. Thanks for coming back.
Good to be back.
Yeah, man. Josh, good. Did you get off work? Make it in today?
I ran all the way.
That was good. You didn't speed. I hope you didn't speed.
Not at all. You couldn't speed if you wanted.
Yeah,
to.
I guess so.
Right in front of you.
Yeah. I was somewhere. You know what? We were in. I was in England one time. We were on this bus, and we were in traffic. It was just moving really slow. And my wife remembers this. There was this really old man and a lady, and this guy had a walker, and he was on the sidewalk, with his walker, and he was actually making more progress than the bus was.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Good night.
73 to everybody. All right.
I looked at my demo. It's 35 to 40-year-olds, 44-year-olds.
But seemed to peak a little bit, and my viewership is almost 97% male.
Yeah. So mine's also spread out.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer.
You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.